So what I want you to do is picture this. You got a full schedule, your phone's blowing up, clients are in the chair waiting, they're in the shop, your booking app is booked out 2-3 weeks, you're cutting 40, 50, 60 heads a week. Now what? From the outside, you look booked, you look successful, your peers think you're successful, your social media blowing up, they think you killing it, successful, your chair stays spinning. But what happens? You go back after a week of working, you sit down, you look at the numbers, you look at your books, and you look at your bank account, and something don't add up. The math ain't mathing. After booth rent or commission, after you buy supplies, after you buy more product, after you set money aside for taxes, then you pay your bills, it ain't much left. And you thinking, man, where did this money go? I've been booked solid for 5-6 straight days. Where is this money going? And on top of that, you're exhausted. Your hands hurt, your feet hurt, your back hurt. Let's face it, everything hurts, all right? And then you look at it again and you're like, well, maybe I'm tripping. But then you notice, man, I'm living paycheck to paycheck and I'm booked, fully booked schedule. That's the trap. That's the trap that I'm telling you about.
Welcome to Barbers Illustrated, moving mindset from artistry to business, unlocking pricing architecture and scaling strategies, with your host, Jason Bell.
Welcome to the Barbers Illustrated Podcast, where the craft of barbering meets the mindset of ownership. I'm your host, Jason Bell, and before we get into today's episode, just let me say this. The barber industry has never had a true global media voice until now. Today, we're talking about busy and broke, the barber trap no one talks about. Over the past 2 episodes, we've talked about elevating this profession. We've talked about creating a new industry standard. We've talked about ownership, structure, and growth. Those are the 3 things that I pride Barbers Illustrated Media and Barbers Illustrated Magazine on. The ownership of barbering, structuring your business, and the growth of your business and the barber industry. But today, it's time to look at the numbers, all right? No more BS. We're going to look at these numbers because there is a painful reality happening in our industry right now. Thousands of barbers are living it. Most won't talk about it. Many of them hide it. And almost all of us have experienced it at some point in our career. And that's called the busy and the broke paradox. That's this rut we get in where we're super busy, but we're still not financially stable or making the money we should be making. So what I want you to do is picture this. You got a full schedule, your phone's blowing up, clients are in the chair waiting, they're in the shop, your booking app is booked out 2-3 weeks, you're cutting 40, 50, 60 heads a week. Now what? From the outside, you look booked, you look successful, your peers think you're successful, your social media blowing up, they think you killing it, successful, your chair stays spinning. But what happens? You go back after a week of working, you sit down, you look at the numbers, you look at your books, and you look at your bank account, and something don't add up. The math ain't mathing. After booth rent or commission, after you buy supplies, after you buy more product, after you set money aside for taxes, then you pay your bills, it ain't much left. And you thinking, man, where did this money go? I've been booked solid for 5-6 straight days. Where is this money going? And on top of that, you're exhausted. Your hands hurt, your feet hurt, your back hurt. Let's face it, everything hurts, all right? And then you look at it again and you're like, well, maybe I'm tripping. But then you notice, man, I'm living paycheck to paycheck and I'm booked, fully booked schedule. That's the trap. That's the trap that I'm telling you about. So how did we get here? Because this didn't happen overnight. This happened slowly, methodically, it ain't like you just woke up one day and you've seen it. It's been happening. You know what I mean? So, as barbers, we're taught a couple things. We're taught get better, get more clients, stay booked, and work harder. And then eventually, being busy becomes the goal. If I can just get more clients, as long as I'm cutting, and the money's coming in, I'm good. I'm busy. But see, that's the problem. Because, busy is based on time. And time has a limit. So it's a dying resource. You can't get more time. You only have so many appointments you can do. You only have, so many hours in the day, so many hours at the shop. You only have so much physical energy before your body reaches a limit and it starts to shut down on you. And you gotta, take a break. But traditional barber education only teaches us the technical skill. It rarely teaches us, the capacity architecture. You know what I mean? When you're only selling your time, you have a ceiling. So let's look at the numbers. Imagine you charge $40, $50 a haircut and it takes you 45 minutes. There's only so many available appointments in that day that you can get in there. It's only so many days you can work, and then it's only, so many years after doing that repeatedly that your body can handle that workload. So the problem isn't your hustle, the problem is your math. Many price their services based on emotion. They see the barber down the street charge more. They see on Instagram they charging more. So now I'm gonna raise my prices, and then they call it, strategic pricing. But that's not true, because they raise their prices without knowing their true cost, their hourly value, their profitability, or their margins. And because they don't understand the numbers, they try to solve financial problems with more work, which means longer days. They stand later at the shop. They trying to get in more appointments. So now instead of getting off at 7, they getting off at 9. They take fewer lunches or fewer breaks to, kind of, ease the pain and the load of the body. They trying to squeeze in extra walk-ins, and that just creates more exhaustion. But working harder inside of a broken financial system only breaks the machine faster. You aren't building a business, you're running in a high-speed hamster wheel. And that's, no one wants to live like that. No one wants to work like that. You know what I mean? So the next question is, how do we fix it? We stop thinking like technicians, first of all, and then we start thinking like business owners. You are a business owner. Even if you don't own the shop you work in, you are still a business owner. Okay? You don't necessarily need more clients. You need more value. What does that mean? That means raising prices strategically, improving the client experience, setting policies for those clients, protecting your time, building a system that allows you to create premium pricing so that you can then raise your prices. Okay? So just think of it like this. If you're 85% booked for 3 straight weeks, 4 straight weeks, the market is telling you something. Now, it's telling you that demand is greater than supply. And we all look at every industry on the planet. When demand increases, what happens? Prices increase. But barbers, we become afraid. We become worried about losing clients, or upsetting people, or people going to the barber next to us or the barber down the street. So instead of looking at it as a problem, let me give you a different way to look at it. If you raise your price 25%, you can actually lose some value and still maintain the same revenue. Except now you gain time, you've reduced stress, you protected your body, you created availability for those higher value clients who want to come in. Okay, you don't need more value, you need more margin. And that's what the goal is, more margin. The goal isn't how many haircuts did I do. The goal then becomes, what is my revenue per hour? What is my average ticket cost per client? What is my retention rate? How many of those clients are coming back on a weekly basis, 2-week basis? What is my profitability at the end of everything? Not what I made that week, but my profit. After I paid everything out, how much profit do I get? Because a book schedule doesn't automatically mean you're successful. 2 barbers can work the same amount of hours, cut the same amount of cuts per week, and one is living paycheck to paycheck and the other is building wealth. The difference isn't the talent, the difference is the structure. That barber that's building the wealth has a better structure and a different structure. Okay, so if you want to change that, here's something you can do this week. Sit down, open up your booking software wherever you go to look at your numbers, and look over the last 30 days and see how much you worked, how many hours you worked. Look at your revenue that came in, what your expenses were that went out, and how much money you actually made, actually kept to yours. Not what you made, what you kept. Okay, so the difference is not about how much money you made in total, but after everything was paid, how much money did you keep? Okay, because the profit matters, the cash flow matters, and the system matters in that situation. So once you understand your numbers, then you can stop guessing. You can stop surviving and you can actually start building a business and get out of that survival mode that you guys heard me, talk about many times. Okay, so just understand that a packed calendar can hide a broken business. A full schedule can disguise financial problems, and being busy can become the excuse we use to, avoid looking at the truth, what really is going on, with our numbers. So the question isn't how busy you are. The question is your business actually working for you? Because let's be honest, man, barbering can absolutely create freedom, both financially and in your everyday life, but only if you build it intentionally and structurally. Okay, so looking back now that we understand the numbers, the next question becomes, how do I actually charge more? How do I raise my prices? How do I become worth more in the eyes of my clients? So that's what we'll talk about in our next episode. We're going to talk about why professionalism is the absolute fastest way to raise your prices. We're going to break down, the shop environment, communication with the customers, client experience, and the standards you need to set to be able to charge those premium prices. You can't just charge because you want to. There's a structure to it that'll actually make it beneficial. Okay, so if this episode helped you, man, please subscribe, leave a review. I'd love to hear from you. Share this with another barber who you think will benefit from this information. And if you want to dive deeper into the conversations we have on the podcast, please make sure you explore the Barbers Illustrated ecosystem. That's where you can see the actual frameworks and the actual stuff on paper, and you can take notes and follow and use it in your everyday life. All right. Thank you for watching, or thank you for listening to the Barbers Illustrated Podcast. This is where the industry finds its voice. This is Barbers Illustrated Media, and we're not just building a brand, we're building the biggest barber media company on the planet.